Welcome to the Build a Purposeful, Profitable Business Doing What You Absolutely Love podcast, hosted weekly by Ange, your business fairy godmother, professional copywriter, published author, and business owner of 20 years. In every episode, Ange will deliver useful bite-sized insights to help you find your voice, position your value, demystify the marketing tech, and run your business on your terms.
Okay, so welcome to episode 13 of the podcast. So great to have you here if you're listening in. I have a special guest this week called Mark Kumar, who is a lifestyle entrepreneur. Now, Mark is very interesting in that he has started several businesses based on a gap he sees in the market or an interest that he has that he knows that will benefit other people. So, Mark, it's so great to have you here today. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me. It truly is an honor to be on your show. I know we're going to have a great time, and I cannot wait to have this conversation where I can add value to you and your listeners as well.
Okay, Mark. So just introduce yourself to the listeners. I think you can do a better job than I have there.
Sure, absolutely. Hi, guys, everybody. My name is Mark Kumar. I'm a lifestyle entrepreneur. And those of you who may not know what a lifestyle entrepreneur is basically someone who goes into an industry, actually enjoys what he does, and then he creates a business around it. So, for example, my first industry that I went into was the photography industry, and how that happened was like all out of chance, if you want. I got a camera for Christmas. I went in there and then started learning it, and one thing led to another. From a family member found out that Mark has a professional camera and then he can take photographs. And at the moment, my best models were my chairs, my sofa, TV, and then my computer tables. That's all. Those were my initial models. Some of you might be thinking, like, what? They're not really models, but that's how I took them. Like, this is what it is. And then Pete Stanazat moved on to the human beings and started taking pictures of those. And then one thing led to another. Family member found out, and then that's that. And then after that, one of the family member recommended to their friend, like, hey, Mark has a professional camera. He can take your pictures. And then I went in there and talked to the people. And they're like, yeah, we want to hire you, which is the word that every single person wants to hear. Like, hey, you want to hire me and you want to pay me with a thing that I actually enjoy doing. So that's where the whole photography business came along. And after that, I did my first job. And then I went into I need to take this seriously. I have to learn the thing that actually what professionals do. So went into learning about posing, lighting, and proper camera technique. And then that went on for a little bit. And I think it was like 2-3 months. I did that. And then while I was doing it, I was also doing my side hustle photography thing where I was shooting photography. I mean, your portrait, weddings, fashion shoot, things of that nature. So that right there, I was like, while I was shooting it, I was like a little kid in a candy store. I enjoyed it so much. It didn't feel like I was working. So for me, that was a lifestyle entrepreneur. That's what the whole thing is. That was my genesis moment. It's like, hey, if I could do this, I'd be happy. And first and second of all, I'll be making money.
That is so cool. And that's something that I advocate as well with my podcast, is helping people build a purposeful business, something that they're interested in doing, because you don't want to spend the rest of your life doing things you don't want to do, right? So you might as well find something you have a passion for, an interest in, and get people to, as you say, get people to pay you for doing it.
and funny thing about that is if you're something you are truly passionate about, people see that, especially in the time that we live in. People are extremely, extremely intelligent thanks to the information age. And once they see you don't like what you're doing, and once they see that, chances are they are not going to be in associated with you or to recommend you as compared to if you are in passion with yourself. You're going to be like so excited, and it's going to see it. Everybody's going to see it on your face. So in essence, once you see it and people are like, oh my God, that guy's really good. Or you are really good. I want to talk to you.
Because they see it in your work as well. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's like your passion transfers into your work, turns into your service, turns into your clients, and then the circle repeats because people who interact with happy people, they're going to go and tell other things. Like, for example, would be to validate that idea. You go to a restaurant, the very person you're going to see is your hostess. And if that hostess smiles and has a friendly attitude, you're going to be like, wow, you're going to go in with the mindset like this is going to be a good experience. And then the food is even nice, which is top of the like another layer. And then you're like, wow, you're going to tell all your friends about like go to that restaurant.
Nice. Yes. Okay. So you started off as a photographer.
Yes.
And then what happened after that?
And then what happened was while I was doing the whole photography thing, doing the portrait, wedding, fashion shoots, and all that stuff, and I was not at the moment in any position of having a website. And I was doing that all manual work, meaning if somebody wants to hire me, I will literally go with my little book and they're like, hey, these are the pictures that I take, like all manual work. And then I will go like travel like hundreds of miles away. I mean, not hundreds, but a far distance, like hour and plus for just to have a potential client, which is, now that I think about it, it's pretty crazy stuff. I would not recommend anybody to do it. But at the moment, that was the only thing that I thought was available until I got introduced to the wonderful world of the website. And that's what I was like, I'm going to go hire somebody to create a website for me. Right. And then what happened when I tried to hire somebody, all I wanted was a simple 5-page website. Nothing more, nothing less. And people were like, I'm going to charge you $5,000. I'm going to charge you $10,000. I'm like, it's not really like full blown, e-commerce. It's simple. And then they were like,
you're just a solopreneur.
It's a very simple thing. And then what I did was like, you know what? Rather than me trying to have the headache or trying to ask somebody to do it and then have to redo it and then all that crap, I'm just going to teach myself how to do the website thing. Right. So I taught myself HTML, JavaScript, Action 5.0, and at the time, whatever. And then it was just a completely new experience and new thing. And while I was doing it, I'm like, these are the questions that I asked myself, like, why am I doing this? Why am I wasting my time? What makes me the expert? Why am I capable of doing this? Or truly, am I capable of doing this? Like all the different things that everyone asks for when they try something new. But the trick that I learned, if you stick to it and you keep on moving forward, then those questions will automatically diminish, because when you see a result, that goes with anything in life. As soon as you see a result, all the negative questions you have, they just go away automatically. I don't know where they go, but they just go into this black hole and they disappear. So having said all of that, so I started progressing slowly but slowly to the point where I was like so passionate about creating website and web development projects that one of the projects which I created, which was a short URL, a URL shortener. Basically, what it does is long URL shrinks it. I give you a very small URL. That's what I created, because that's what I needed for my business at the moment. And I didn't know that there was plenty of them out there. So I was like, hey, let me just go and create it. And while I was creating it, and this is where another Genesis moment happened, where I was so focused, so tuned in, so passionate about it, so enjoying the whole process that I did not sleep for 41 hours.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And now that I think about it nowadays, like, God, that's crazy. But in the moment, I was like, wow, this is so cool. I was like, yeah, I could do this a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there. And before you know it, I was like, wow.
Right?
And after 41 hours, the whole thing was done. I was like, yes, I did it. Yeah, that's great. And then I moved on to going into the actual industry, because I felt like after creating that particular project and not sleeping, I could literally do anything that anyone throws at me. If they have an idea, I can create it into a web development project or website or web project or web app, whatever they want. I can literally do that. So what I did was I went on and told a few of my friends, like, hey, I could do website, whatever. And then like, yeah, we want you to just do something like that. So the very first job that I had, creating a simple 5-page website, and that was like $500 or something like that. So I was like, they were happy with it because that was affordable, and then the result that they got was very professional-like. And I was like, I could do the same thing I did with the photography business. Now I could do it on the website business. Yeah. And then the whole website business literally just took off because same thing happened with the photography. It went on with the web development where everyone was finding out like, hey, Mark can create a professional website. Go hire him. That's the keyword here. Go hire him, and not just go talk to him. Go hire him. That's what you want to do. Have somebody say, go hire him.
Hire him.
And
yeah.
then, exactly. And then after that, what I did was I started getting more calls and more businesses and so on and so forth. And then I got introduced to this wonderful world of WordPress, which was at the time, I was like, wow, this thing is amazing and everything. And then my first website, I put it on there. Second website, I put it in there. And then a month later, they did an update and both of the websites just crashed. I'm like, all this hard work, sleepless night, trying to put the content in there, and the whole thing just crashed. And I don't know, I can almost guarantee you, anybody who uses WordPress, anytime they do an update, and sometimes they just do it automatically, you don't even have an option.
Yeah.
And it crashes, or one of your WordPress plugin doesn't work, or your theme doesn't work. And then
I had that once with my website. My daughter phoned me up and she said, where have the images gone from your website? What are you talking about?
Right.
Well, all the images had disappeared. The theme had updated and they'd done something wrong.
Right.
And I think probably when they realised they'd done it wrong, they probably would have corrected it, I guess. But I just went in and just put all the images back in again.
Yeah, it's
an hour to do.
Yeah, it's literally ludicrous. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
And then after having two of the website crash, and how I found out they crashed is because my clients literally told me like, hey, I'm trying to access my photos, but I can't because your website doesn't work. Like, what do you mean? And these are paying clients. Like, I can't access my photo. I'm like, what do you mean? It's there. Like, so I was like, you know what? Forget it. I'm going to just wash my hands with WordPress. I literally created my own content management system that is similar to WordPress, but is a lot more flexible as well as stable as well. So I have right now all my websites on that particular platform, which I call is the Node.js platform based on that, but I call it NodePress.js. And then how that works is I created it for myself because I had a need. And now I just literally gave it to the web development community, and everybody who used it, like, wow, this is a lot faster, a lot more powerful, and it's also stable. So, and after that, I got into a little corporate web development where I just did a project where saved the company, this multi-million-dollar company. I won't say the name because I signed the NDA. It saved them a $1.6 million in the course of 8 months. So at that point, I'm like, I'm on to something. So that's when I was like, this is like, wow, it's like really good. And then I started teaching for my fellow web developers how to create applications that are fast, reliable, and stable. That's what you want. So now what I want to do is help your listeners create or have a better understanding of what they actually need in their website. Because the people who are a web developer, what they are a web developer. They're just thinking like technical stuff. Yeah. But as a business person, you're like, I need page for my home, like for, in my case, photography, someone where they can contact me, and portfolio where they can see my pictures. That's all I need. But if you talk to a web developer, like who is technical savvy, literally, they're going to talk to you in a language you don't understand. Wait a minute, I need to do this HTML, JavaScript. Like, I'm as a business person, you're like, I don't care. I need 3 pages. Get it done.
I had the same experience once with a web developer I had in-house at one point, and we had designed the design of the website, and her job was to translate that design and make a website out of it, right? And so I was sitting next to her, and I said, well, this is what it's supposed to look like, and this is what you've done. Can you walk me through it? And she said, well, it works. I was like, yeah, okay, it needs to work, but it also needs to look like this.
Right, exactly. So I think because I was from a point of view of a business owner first, And then I became the web developer, so I can understand both sides of it. So I can easily translate into like what the actual business owner wants and understand it because I was once there.
Exactly.
So people who
so for someone starting up a business then for the first time, what do they actually need in a website? What would you recommend?
That's what I was going to actually, it's a very good question. That's what I was going to get to is that if you are starting a business, let's pick a niche, any niche. So you give me a niche or industry.
Oh gosh, let me think. Cooking to order.
Cooking to order, great. At that point, the very first thing anyone is going to look at is what kind of recipes have you done in the past? Can you see pictures of it? So the first page, what you want is obviously your home page, where you have a little bit of an introduction of what your business is about, and then followed by you can call it a recipe page. So you have a menu, you got home, recipe, content, and if you are selling core recipes online like an e-course, or if you are doing a e-commerce thing where people can order in, you make the cookies and then you deliver it. So you have homepage, you have your recipes, and then contact and store. So you have 4 pages. In essence, that's all you need. So you have to understand what business you are in and whether or not is your business online needs to have where people will order in, or they just want to digitally consume whatever services or product you have. So if you want to have a customer, let's say, first of all, if I come to your online store, let's just call it, I don't know, mycooking.com or something like that. So on that website, if my first time coming there, I'm not going to say, I want to give you money right away because I don't know you. So the first thing what I want to do is I want to look at your website to make sure it looks professional. And what it means it looks professional is don't have a just plain black background that gives you a little bit of a gothic dark look to it. Don't use that just either plain dark or plain white. Stay with the neutral color, which will be like a little on the green side, like a little light green, or somewhere along the line where it doesn't hurt your eyes. So you could do this test. You have created a website, let's just say, right? And then you're looking at it, obviously, as a business owner or the person whose website is, they're never going to say it looks horrible because that's their baby. They're always going to say, no matter how not professional it looks great, right? So first thing you want to do is do the validation test. However your website is, you send that link to your friend who doesn't like you because they're going to tell you literally what they don't like about your website. Because if you send it to somebody who's your friend, who likes you, loves you, and cares for you, they may not give you these critical feedback that a person who's just going there for the first time looking at it. So send that person the link, and then you get an honest feedback. And then after that, thank that person for honest feedback. And then you go back with your web developer and then tell them, like, I need to make this adjustment. So the very first thing, what you want to do is after you make the adjustment on your homepage, make sure you clearly state what is your business about. Because most of the time, you go to a website, they got this fancy little thing, but you have no idea what the whole website is all about. So people will go to your website. Like, for example, if I go to your mycooking.com, and if I don't know what your website is about within a 5 seconds, I'm going to go off on it. Which was also means, like, for example, your domain, which is like what you say, mycooking.com. So if I have mycooking.com, my mindset is going to be like, that's about cooking. Now tell me more about it. As compared to joe.com, I don't know who Joe is. What does Joe do? I don't know. So in that sense, depending on what domain name you have, it might help your visitors or potential buyers understand what your website is all about. So it starts with the domain name and then the homepage. And the homepage is literally your digital handshake with the world. You're saying, hello, how are you doing? My name is Mark. I'm a lifestyle entrepreneur. And from that point on, you continue the conversation. And then right after you have the in a little introduction, you want to put a button underneath it saying more information if this is your first time visiting. If not, then you scroll down, whatever. And then on the top menus, you want to clearly identify what things they are looking for. And I mean, people who are your potential buyer, that's what the website is for. And for those of you who may have a different perspective of what a potential buyer is. Potential buyer could be started from zero, that they don't know you, is a newcomer. I don't know who Paul is or who John is for the My Cooking Show. And what do I need to know about that person? That's point 0. And then 10 is where I have heard about you. I know you. I have a very strong feeling that I can trust you and I want to pay you.
Right.
So if you have a person starting at 0, so you want to make sure you give them enough information so they can make a decision whether or not if they want to do business with you.
Okay. So one of the common mistakes I think we both see people make is that it's not clear what business they're in when they set up their website. And I think we've both seen so many examples of this, right?
Absolutely.
You go into the homepage and it's, I don't know what they do. And then you hope when you click About Us, you hope that's going to give you some idea. Then you go onto About Us and it's, I still don't know what you do. So you need to avoid that problem. You need to be very clear with what you do. What other common errors do you see on websites that you think the listener should avoid?
Yeah, I just want to piggyback on what you say about us section, because sometimes people go into great details about what they're all about. Like, my name is Joe. I am a professional X, whatever that field is. And I do blah, blah, blah. I do blah, blah, blah. I can do blah, blah, blah. Keep that within only 2 paragraphs.
Right.
That's all you want to do. So first, my name, like for example, if you go to my website, my name is Mark Kumar. I'm a lifestyle entrepreneur. And then I go into what people or what kind of people I want to attract that will trust me. So you go into their pain points, whether it'll be like, what kind of, like, for example, let's think with the same concept of a website, which is a cooking website. Hey, I help you make a healthy, delicious cooking recipe, whether it'll be a chocolate or whether it'll be a chicken or things in that nature. Because what that will do is it will tell the people, like, you know, hey, if I continue reading this, I can reap those benefits by doing this. And then about section, what you also want to do is give a link to whatever that initial information that particular person wants. So for example, if I'm reading this cooking website and then tells me like, hey, I can make a chicken recipe, I can help you make a chicken recipe. After that, click here for more information. Then you send them to chicken recipe blog post within your website. What that will do is, first, they don't know you. Now they know you. Now you help them by creating a chicken recipe. What that will do is then it will build their trust. So going from 0, 2, 3, 4. And then at that point, you did not ask for anything. And then obviously, when you get to the chicken recipe blog post, at the end of the post, at that point, you could tell them to join my email list or contact me, or here is a course you can take to make other recipes in which I teach you. So you always want to have a call to action in each one of your blog posts.
Right. Yeah, that's an excellent journey within the website in order to build trust. That's very insightful. Thank you so much for that. Yeah. Any other errors that you think people make that they need to avoid? I
mean, there's like so many different ones. Like, for example, because I shouldn't say error. It's just that people don't know it because they're not part of the technical side, right? So
we want to avoid it.
Yeah, one of them is like the very common thing that I see people making all the time, and because they don't know it, but after listening to this, they will know it. It's like don't load too many or don't include too many pictures on your website on a page, especially on your home page, because when people come to your website, they're going to give you literally less than 5 seconds, 5 second max. If the page doesn't load up, they're going to go away. Imagine yourself. You go to a website and then it doesn't load up within 3 to 5 seconds. You're like, this slide is so, and get out of here. So at least on your homepage, try to only keep one picture. And if you want to include a video, try to keep the video file size small, or try to make it under 1 minute. It's just a very quick introduction video. This is what it's about, because you don't want to tell your whole story, because a lot of people do. Like, hey, I'm about blah, 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 and I could do blah, 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 blah. And because of you creating this long 10, 20-minute video, it's going to take, depending on the person's internet speed, because the internet, the wonderful world of internet, is available to worldwide. And believe me, not every single person has the same fast internet connection like you.
Yeah.
So keep that thing in mind. So on your homepage, try to minimize your video if you're going to include it under 1 minute, which means it's going to be like a very short file size, and also a picture up to 1 to 2 max. And then when you go into your other pages, for example, if you're a photographer in that case, obviously you want to have pictures of your work. Yeah. So try to decompress it to a lower file size. If it's a JPEG, and this is getting a little technical, try to keep it up to like the 0 being the very horrible file size, and 12 being the very best. So you want to keep it between 4 to 6, which is like decent enough where it will load up so quickly.
Right. Okay. All right. So you got to be careful with the size of the files that you upload onto the site.
Yep.
Right. Keep it light.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then another thing what I mentioned is, speaking of the file size and everything else, when you go to get yourself a domain, you will obviously, how that works is, people may or may not know this. When you are thinking of getting a website, you need 2 things. One is a domain name. Domain name could be similar to like your store name at a physical location, like Martha's Cooking Bakery, which is located at Forest Hill -22, blah, 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 blah. That's your physical location. In the digital world, that's your domain name. So it will be marthascooking.com, which is, that particular part of it is very, very affordable. It's like $10 to $15 a year. So you have a whole worth of year, which you have to renew it every single year. And then the part 2 will be your hosting platform, in which what that means is that you will have to host all your files, your videos, your text, your databases, and so on and so forth on a particular platform. So another way to look at it is like, that's just your computer on a cloud. And there are plenty of web hosting companies out there, depending on you choose. But just please make sure, don't go with the hosting company that limits you the number of storage, which means how many files you can upload, and also limit you the number of visitors can visit your website. You don't want that. Those 2 things are those things are very, very important. And make sure when whoever you choose to go with, they offer at least these 2 things unlimited.
Right.
That's the critical part, because what happens, it has happened to me. I was with a company and the website was going good. And then I hit a threshold where they were like, oh, you need to delete some of your files. Okay. It was a pretty setback. I was like, okay, whatever. And then after that, my site got a little popular, and they're like, oh, you need to move on to the next premium package, and the next premium package, and the next premium package. And before I knew, I was spending like $200 a month. Like that's crazy. Yeah,
wow.
Yeah. So I learned that the hard way. So just I was like,
check out your hosting companies first and see what's on offer. Right. Yep. Okay. Okay. Any other gems that you could give? That would be.
I would highly advise you to stay away from WordPress. that would be my recommendation. There's plenty of other websites. If you just want a simple 1-page website, it's plenty of them out there. I will send you the link. I think it's called Web something. I can't remember the name of it. What that will do is it will allow you to create one simple web page website in which you can add your pictures, you can add your video, and you have unlimited storage, unlimited bandwidth with how many people can visit your website. It's literally, if you can use Microsoft Word, you could do that. You could drag and drop, and it's very customizable. And most importantly, if you are busy business owner, you don't have the time to mess around with the thing. They already have pre-made template for every single industry imaginable. So you could literally just use that template and then move a thing here and there, and it's very easy, like drag and drop, which will speed up your process.
Anyone really should be able to use it, spend a bit of time, but they should be able to use it by dragging and dropping things in. And as you say, the template's already there, it's almost built for you. You just have to change your image. Right?
Yeah, so just make it customizable for you. So within 10 minutes, I would imagine that if you don't know anything, you can have a website.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
And then in this particular platform, you can get a website, a free website, which will give you like their own URL. But if you want your own custom URL, you pay like $8 or $10, and that's it for the whole year. It doesn't get better.
Yeah, I was on one site like that one time. I was training someone on it, and it had been a few years since I'd visited this particular company. And so they had moved on quite a lot since I'd last visited. So I went in, and then they gave you two options. Do you want the editor builder, so you can build it yourself, or do you want to use our AI, our artificial intelligence? And I thought, there's no way you can build a website on artificial intelligence, but let's have a go. Let's see what comes up. It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. Clicked on the button, artificial intelligence. Like, then they just asked you a few questions, like what industry are you in, blah, 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 what, and then they gave you a few samples of the type of look you want for your website. Do you want it really classy? Do you want it funky? That kind of stuff. And then you pick the type of design. So that was just a click of a button. And then literally the whole thing was there, copy and everything. The copy was in. I mean, obviously you have to change it, but you can model on it for sure, because they use the information from that particular industry. So I was like, wow, that is just so great that this technology is there, that people can do this now. And I agree with you that WordPress is a learning curve. It's not something that someone who's never designed a website before can go in and design. There's a lot of things to learn on WordPress to actually get it up. Otherwise, you look at it and it's like, what do I do now? Right? And then, as you say, I had one customer. She had built her website herself, and she was absolutely distraught. She sent me a message one day, just said, my website's gone down and I don't know what to do. It's just gone. And it's the same thing as what you said. Something had updated, or there's a plugin that didn't work, and it just broke the site. And if you've spent, especially if you're a business owner, a busy business owner, and you've spent all this time and effort trying to build your own website, and then suddenly it breaks.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to have a two job, which is fixing your website and running your business. Running your business is more important.
Yeah.
So I would think.
Yeah, get something that's easier to handle and also that won't break on you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? If it does break, there's support available to actually fix it for you. You don't have to do it yourself, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. So ask me more questions. I want to help.
What else? I mean, okay. So, for example, I have some clients that have said, okay, when I build this website, it has to have this function. Like, it has to have the ability for the customer to contact us via WhatsApp. There's got to be a WhatsApp button at the bottom of the screen, right? And then that's a do or die request. If it doesn't have that, I don't want this website, kind of thing. What would you say to that?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked that question. That's what I call the has to have syndrome. It's kind of like, because at that point there's a difference between what the potential buyer wants and what the business owner wants for his own personal need, fulfillment. This would be nice if I had that. But at the same time, I almost 100% guarantee you, if you go to, for example, let's just call this guy or a girl, let's call a guy, I guess, Mike. Mike has a website which deals with the firecrackers. I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there. Exactly. And then on his website, he wants to have a capability in which he wants to add in where the person can text message him right there and then, right? Great idea. Nothing wrong with that. And let's just go with that there, man. I'll come back why there's something wrong with that part. But at the moment, I just go with it. Once a message, and then he can go back and forward on WhatsApp or communication that way.
Yeah.
However,
Okay.
if Mike goes to a website where he wants to set up an appointment to fix his car, you think Mike cares about getting on the phone with them, going back and forward, and what's up?
No. He just wants it fixed, right?
Exactly. So if you take your personal emotions and feeling out of it and put on a hat where if I am a consumer or a buyer of a business, what things I need from them, that's all you have to do. And as far as going back to the whole communication with the WhatsApp, let's say when you are thinking of that idea, it seems great. And you have this mindset, I want to help people, which is great attitude to have. However, let's say you had that initial idea on Monday where everything was slow, not much going on and everything else. Come Wednesday, if you actually implemented it, come Wednesday, you are in a meeting, you have this some disaster happen on your website or in your business world or whatever.
Right.
At that point, your phone is going to blow up because people are asking for the particular thing. Where you think your stress level will be?
Yeah.
So think long term. Like long term, when I'm thinking of the idea, that's great. But if things gets busy and I don't have time, and if somebody is literally messaging you, what's the expectation? If they're in a pain or have a problem, they want answers right away. But if you are not capable of giving them the answers right away, then they're gonna think, "Oh, this guy is like crap. I don't want to deal with him." So
it's true.
You are
true. The expectation that they're going to get immediate answers.
Yeah.
Right.
So you are literally setting yourself up for failure. You don't want to do that.
Yeah. So I used to, on my website, my corporate website, I used to have this support button on mine, and it would go through to my mobile phone, right? So I get messages on my mobile phone, but they'd never stay around long enough for me to get in, look at the question and answer it. By the time I'd answered it, they'd gone.
Right. So that's like that is completely like another, set of problems, and depending on which technology you use and things in that nature. So it's like, you don't want to do that.
Yeah. So, but you're right. Is that you're setting if you're going to set up some kind of chat response that demands instant response to the customer, they're going to expect somebody to get back to them straight away.
Absolutely.
And if you haven't got the team to handle that, then there's no point you having that facility on the site at all.
Then you're literally doing injustice to yourself, and number two, to your business.
And to the customer ultimately as well. They're just going to go somewhere else.
Literally, you will. Because if you're in a position, you would do the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I think that's a good point, is always look at your website, how your customer will look at the website.
Yep.
Right.
And that will, believe you me, when I learned that, it literally cut down half of the stuff that I think was important out of the way, and then decreased my stress down to almost next to nothing. And also it sped up of how fast I built my website.
Fantastic. So what would you recommend to the listeners in terms of what they should have on the site in terms of customers being able to contact them?
I would say just have a regular contact page in which you ask for their name, email, and a message in which they can communicate whatever they want to communicate. But don't stop there. What you want to do is when somebody press that submit button, at that level, it's going to go somewhere, send you an email or save it in your database, however you want to structure that. As soon as they do that, you show them another message to make sure you have the chain of communication going on, that I will, or we will, depending on your company, will get back to you with the X amount of time. Whatever that time frame is, 24 hours, 48 hours, whatever. Yeah. And then make sure you do that. Because what happens is when somebody sends you an email, and some people, and a lot of people do that, it just goes and says, thank you, plain blank.
Right. Yeah.
Then what?
It's like, did it go? Because sometimes you don't even see that the button was responsive either. So you don't even know if it went.
Right.
So you can end up sending multiple messages.
Right, exactly. So it's like, I don't know what happens. So make sure you keep the line of communication open. If I go to your website, I could submit information, and then you want to make sure you tell that person, hey, I will or we will get back to you in X amount of time, whether it be 24 hours or 48 hours or whatever the case may be. Just have a message that says like, so in that way, what happens in your buyer's mind, it's like they're expecting an answer within X amount of time. So they won't be like, hey, I'm refreshing my email, nothing. You guys are crap.
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with you.
Yeah. So you need to set that expectation so they know. So then if you set it for, say, 48 hours, you can definitely then over-deliver because you're going to come back to them before the 48 hours is up anyway, right?
Yep.
So setting those expectations and then over-delivering after that.
Definitely. Yeah. If you are a business owner, let's break it down for people step by step. If you are a business owner, make sure, first of all, you identify what kind of business you're truly in. Are you a business owner where some people are going to come to your physical location to purchase? That's number one. Mm-hmm. Or number two, where you want people to sell online. So you have to identify physical or digital, either, because both of those will have to have a different kind of website. Because if you're a physical location, let's stick with that one, where somebody has to, like, for example, hardware, somebody local hardware store where you want to go and pick it up. At that point, all your website is going to be information based only. That's it. So in that case, it makes life easier for you. Unless you want to sell your hardware stuff online, which you have to do with the delivery things and everything else. So let's just, for the sake of argument, let's just say people actually come to your plumbing store to buy stuff, pliers, pipes, whatever. But they want to know what you have. So at that point, your website is going to have a homepage, Joe's Plumbing, because make sure they understand, and then more information. And then you have a blog post or page which lists all of your parts that you have within your store that they can order. And it will be helpful to list the price of your parts. Because when somebody comes in, they want to buy it, they know exactly what it is.
Yeah. And I love what they say as well. I did like a survey article for a customer at one point where they'd done a lot of consumer research. And they said basically that most people nowadays will research what they want to buy online before going into the physical store and buying it. So they have probably more information about the product than the store assistant probably does by the time they go in and buy. So they make their decision online and then they go offline and they go and buy it.
Yeah, which makes a store owner's life a lot easier, because when they come in, they're like, I want to buy, oh, you have this? It's easy transaction. Here's the money, give me the part amount. Within 5 minutes, you're out. Yeah. That's easy. Yeah. That's the easy sales.
That's required, right?
Right, exactly. So in that case, the person who is a plumber is a very simple page website. One is a home, another one is a list of parts, and third is contact. And on that particular page, you also want to include where you're physically located. It will help if you could do a Google Map thing, which will make it easier for them to get direction to your store. They could just put it in and put it in the GPS and off they go. So 3-page and it's done.
Nice.
It's very done.
Nice. But and that's the thing. You don't have to complicate things. No. If it's an informational website, you don't have to complicate it with a lot of things.
No, it's very easy. And but if you are doing the digital world where you need to actually sell stuff online, and then people are going to come to your website with all different channels, all different platforms, and all different things, and all different mindsets.
Right.
So you have to communicate with them like, hey, if you are brand new to my website on your homepage, at that point, you want to start adding value and tell that person like what you are all about in a small incremental way. You just want to give them like, here's a PDF, a 20-page PDF, and this is what I'm all about. Nobody's going to read that. No, I can promise you. Or 30-minute video, this is what I'm all about. Nobody's going to read that, especially if the person lands on your page for the very first time. They're not going to care. Let's be honest. So at that point, what you want to do is like, hey, potential buyer. Thank you for coming to my website. I'm all about blah, 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 and button. And then you go to this small particular either blog post or 1 to 2 minute video. That's it. And then after they consume that, underneath it, there's going to be another button that says, hey, if you want X, Y, and Z. So for example, let's just give this, because I like to give like a picture of people listening to this so they have a very good understanding and they can also relate. So let's pick another niche, fitness, for example. So I want to get fit. I come to your website, call it myfitness.com. And at that point, I might be a potential buyer who only wants to lose 2 pounds or 2 kg. That's it. Another potential buyer, like, I need help in my dieting. Very, very specific. Right. And then a third person will be, I want to get ready for my fitness show. So we have 3 different potential buyers. So how do you help all of them? So when I go to your website, hey, I'm a fitness coach and I help people lose weight, get in shape. And also, if you are getting ready for your competition, I do that too. There's a button, 3 buttons. If you want to lose 2-3 kgs, whatever kgs that is, or if you want a diet plan, or if you want to get into fitness. So each one of those things are going to be very specific to the person who is clicking on it. And once they click on it, it's repeating the process again. Here's a video or a small text. And then at the end of the text, because you're going to be online coach, join my email list. And once they join your email list, then you go to the process of what they call warming up your clients, where they're going to be like adding value. You give them more information. But the key thing is, which I learned the hard way, is when you go into the adding value from your email, meaning you are giving them information that is helpful for them, that's great. But another thing you also want to do is make sure you take action of whatever information they give them. So give them actionable, valuable information. For example, let's say a person who wants to lose 2 kg or 2 pounds. You send them, they get into your email list, and then you tell them like, hey, make this recipe, step 1. Step 2, walk for 30 minutes, and then let me know if you need any help or if you have any question. So if they really have question, they're going to reply to your email. And then from that point on, you know that person is very, very highly motivated. So that's step number 1. Number 2, what people mostly do is, which make the mistake, is they give you 7 days to 15 days of nothing but highly information and all that stuff, and so on and so forth, which is like not the greatest way to go about running your business, because those emails, you are paying for the service, and then every single month, if you have 100 people joining your list, you're paying for those emails to go out on a timely manner. Right. And then what you want to do is, which I learned literally the hardest way, everything in my life I learned the hard way. It's like, if somebody joins your email list at the very beginning, there's a reason why they joined it, because they found information that you provided to them valuable at some very moment in time. They are very likely to buy from you soon because they joined it and they want to know more about you. So what I do is, you send literally 3 emails. 1, to help them with whatever they think that they opt in for, meaning they join your email list for. If they lose 2 kgs, you tell them how to lose 2 kg. First email. Second email, hey, by the way, I just want to make sure, this second email is just a follow-up. Hey, I just want to make sure you got my last email. And if you have any question, let me know. And next day, I'm going to send you a link in which you can join my coaching program, which I will help you do it one-on-one. So third email, where you're selling it, or you're asking for something, some kind of money. And if they don't respond, then you wait about 3 days and you repeat the process. So 1 email information, second one to feedback, and third one to ask for sale.
Right. Yeah, that's a really good point, because some people just wait too long before they try and make the sale, and that person's either gone, right, or forgot what they signed up for in the first place, right, which sometimes happens. But yeah, you're right. They've they've given you their email because they were interested in something. So it makes sense then to offer them something that's of value to them, right? You can buy.
Right.
And another point you mentioned earlier, I just want to go back to where you said that you have 3 different target audiences that are coming to the site, and they've got 3 different reasons to be there. So I've had this question from customers in the past. Well, how do I deal with these 3 different things? And you very nicely said there, basically you're creating 3 different gateways into your site so if they're interested in losing weight, for example, they click on that section for losing weight, then they'll go into the section in your website which is all about that and nothing else, right? So their problem's going to be dealt with. You're not going to be talking to them about gaining weight if they don't want to gain weight, right? But someone who wants to gain weight will click on a different button and go to a different part of the website. So it's always addressing what their needs are, basically, and answering their questions, and not trying to answer everybody's questions on the same.
Right. You don't want to generalize the whole thing, because when you generalize anything, you want to be losing all the time. But if you get very, very specific, there's 95% chance you will win, which is a lot higher.
Yeah, that's right. Well, right. So that's just so much information you've given here. This is really good in terms of a lot of useful things to think about when you're setting up your website and how to set up your website and to avoid some of the common errors that people make. So that's really, really insightful. So thank you so much for that. So where can the listeners go to find out more?
They can go to, which is my name, markkumar.com. And once again, if you go there, and then because you are a listener of this show, just click on contact and then type in your name and email and then message. And then in your message, mention this particular podcast, and I will give you one-on-one 30-minute consultation call where I will see if I can try to help your business, whatever business you are in, help it grow online, because that's what I specialize in.
Fantastic. That's wonderful. That's absolutely great. I think, anyone who doesn't take that up, I think you really should. That is a fantastic gift from Mark. And I think that will really help anyone that's starting off on their business. So thank you so much, Mark. And so, so to go to Mark's website, it's markumar.com.
Yep.
Right?
There you go.
Okay. Go to contact, send him a message, mention that you've listened to this podcast, and you can book in a consultation with Mark. Fantastic. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much once again for having me on the show. It's been a blast. I've really enjoyed it. And I'm 100% sure, if not 95% sure, people who listen to it, they will enjoy it.
Yeah, I hope so. Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye.